An amiable welcome to everyone. This is your Allied Legdom channel to enhance your understanding. Today's topic is about anesthesia breathing circuit. Our department videos will be available in our anesthesia technology playlist. You can check it out. A breathing circuit. A breathing circuit is a medical device which is used to deliver oxygen or any inhalational agent like sevoflurane, desflurane from the machine to the patient via an endotracheal tube or a mask. This is the main source of respiration for patient during any surgical procedure. Principle of breathing circuit. Delivery of oxygen, deliver inhalational anesthetic gas, elimination of carbon dioxide. Breathing circuit are divided into open system, semi-open system, semi-closed system, closed system. First, we will see about the components of breathing system, then we'll get into the types of breathing circuit in detail. Components of breathing system: fresh gas entry port, reservoir bag, breathing tubes, adjustable pressure limiting valve also known as APL valve, connectors and adapters, filters, humidification system, PEEP valves. Reservoir bags, otherwise called as breathing bag, are made up of rubber, synthetic lattice. They are connected to the anesthesia breathing circuit to ventilate the patient. Bags with different capacities are available for various age groups. For neonates, we use 250 ml. Children up to 3 years, we use 500 ml. Children above the age of 3, 1000 ml. For adults, it's 2000 ml. The capacity the bag holds should be more than the patient's tidal volume. Tidal volume is nothing but the volume of gas inspired or expired in each breath during normal respiration. Functions: it protects the patient from excessive pressure in the breathing system, also provide peak inspiratory flow. This is a pic of a reservoir bag with different sizes. Breathing tubes. It is a two tube combined as a single part. One end will be patient end and the other two ends will be connected to the machine. It is made up of a rubber or plastic or silicone. For adults, the internal diameter would be 22 mm. For pediatrics, it is 15 mm. The breathing tubes are flexible. If you see the tubes, they are kind of wrinkly, which will prevent the tube from kinking. Function of breathing tube: act as a reservoir in certain system. They provide connection from one part of the system to another. Adjustable pressure limiting valve, shortly known as APL valve, also called as expiratory valve, pressure relief valve, pop-off valve, dump valve, exhaust valve, and spill valve, head-bring valve. The major function of APL valve is that when there is an increase in exhaled gases or fresh gas flow is nothing but any medical gases or volatile anesthetic agent from the anesthesia machine. So APL valve, it makes those gases to leave the system while preventing the atmospheric air from entering. The valve is actually spring loaded. So when you just turn the cap over it or the valve top, it controls or modifies the pressure on the spring. The major function of APL valve is actually carried by the spring. The APL valve has 3 orifices which controls the flow of gases. One for the intake of gas, second one for the return of gas to the patient, and third, there will be an exhaust port which will collect the waste gases and deliver it to the scavenging system, or it will deliver it into the atmosphere. Parts of spring loaded disc: female taper, retaining screw, stem with disc, spring, valve top. Now we will see in detail about the divisions of breathing system. First one will be open system. They have no valves, no tubing. An inhalational agent like ether are soaked in a gauze and held near the patient face. In this technique, a Schimmelbusch mask is used. The mask will be covered with 8 layers of gauze to form a hood-like structure. This mask can be kept on the face of the patient, which will cover the nose and the mouth. Ether will be dropped on the center of the mask. This method is not used in today's clinical practice. So, what happens is that the patient will breathe in through the mask containing ether, the agent reaches the alveoli, it gets diffused into the bloodstream, and then the patient loses his consciousness and feels no pain. This is a picture of anesthetic agent being delivered in the olden era. The major drawbacks of open system. A large amount of anesthetic agent does get evaporated, which pollutes the atmosphere. It becomes a bit difficult to attain the delivered concentration of the drug, and liquid ether can cause eye irritation. Next, semi-open method. This is basically the same technique as open method, but to prevent the concentration of ether vapor getting dissipated into the atmosphere, a folded towel is placed over the mask. Semi-closed circuit. It was described by Mapleson, therefore called as Mapleson circuit. These are divided into 6 types: A, B, C, D, E, and F. First, we'll see about the type A circuit, which is also called as McGill circuit. If you look into the diagram, you can see that the APL valve is brought near the mask, and then there is a breathing bag and a fresh gas inlet, which is the machine end. So basically, what happens is that the fresh gases reaches the patient from the machine, and the exhaled gases from the patient are exhaled from the APL valve. However, some of the gases still goes back into the tubings, which leads to rebreathing of the same gas. Rebreathing. Rebreathing is nothing but these expiratory gases which have gone back into the tubing may be re-inhaled by the patient in the next breath. From the diagram, you can see that the fresh gases are delivered through an inlet and the expired gases are exhaled through the APL valve. To prevent the rebreathing, there are recommendations for fresh gas flow for each circuit. For McGill's fresh gas flow should be equal to minute volume. Minute volume is nothing but the amount of gas inhaled or exhaled by a patient in 1 minute. McGill circuit is not recommended for controlled ventilation. Controlled ventilation is when the patient is not breathing on his own and the ventilator will take over his respiration. If this circuit is used for controlled ventilation, very high flow is required, and in spite of such high flow, prevention of rebreathing is still unpredictable. Therefore, McGill circuit should not be used for controlled ventilation. It is a circuit of choice for spontaneous ventilation. And the APL valve should be near the patient to control rebreathing. Type B circuit. Here, in this diagram, you can see that the position of fresh gas flow inlet and the breathing bag has been changed when compared to type A. The fresh gas flow inlet is brought near the APL valve, but still it did not offer any advantage, therefore no more used now. It's equally efficient for spontaneous and controlled ventilation. Type C, also known as water circuit. From the diagram, you can see that the length of the corrugated tubing is shortened. It also did not offer any advantage, therefore no more used now, and they are equally effective for spontaneous and controlled ventilation. Type D, also known as Bain circuit. So type D was modified by scientist Bain, therefore it's called as Bain circuit. It is the most commonly used semi-closed circuit in anesthesia, and as you can see, the APL valve is brought near the breathing bag and the fresh gas flow inlet near the mask. Not just that, Bain also made an inner tube in type D circuit, making it coaxial, which means the fresh gases are delivered through the inner tube, reducing the chances of fresh gas and exhaled gases getting mixed together. It is a circuit for controlled ventilation. Bain circuit can also be used for spontaneous ventilation, but fresh gas flow requirement would be higher. Here you can see that there is a little tube which delivers the fresh gas to the patient. Fresh gas flow for controlled ventilation is 1.6 times of minute ventilation at normal respiratory rate, or 70 to 100 ml per kg per minute. The respiratory rate is increased to 16 breaths per minute. Many clinicians prefer the method 2, As I've already mentioned, the Bain circuit can also be used for spontaneous ventilation, but the fresh gas flow requirement is higher, which would be 2.5 times of minute volume of a patient. Advantages of Bain circuit. They are lightweight and the corrugated tubing is long, making it useful for head and neck surgery. The resistance is quite less and the sterilization is also easy. Disadvantage of Bain circuit. The inner tube can get folded or kinked, which can cause an obstruction, can also get disconnected, but to decrease these complications, the outer tube is made transparent. Type E circuit, also called as Aries TPs, with corrugated tubing. This circuit does not have a breathing bag. It is a pediatric circuit. This circuit is only meant for spontaneous respiration. As it does not have a breathing bag, it cannot be considered as a complete circuit. As you can see, the type E does not have any breathing bag. Type F, also called as Jackson and Rees circuit, Iris TPs, was made complete by attaching a breathing bag to it by Jackson and Rees. Commonly used semi-closed pediatric circuit in children aged less than 6 or less than 20 kg. The fresh gas flow for type F is similar to that of Bain, which is type D. Type E and F circuit are made valveless to decrease the resistance. Semi-closed system in terms of efficiency. For spontaneous ventilation, the first one would be A, and then DEF, and then BC. For controlled ventilation, it would be DFE, BC, and then A circuit. How much fresh gas flow are required for each circuit are mentioned in this column. Other semi-closed circuit. Number 1, Hafina system. These are modification of A, B, C, and D. The expiratory valves of this system is replaced by a suction port, an ejector flow meter to decrease the theater pollution. 2. Humphrey system. A single lever changes from one circuit to other. In principle, the system offers efficient function by combining the advantage of Mapleson A, D, and E system. Closed system. In this system, the circuit is closed and the patient breathes the anesthetic mixture repeatedly from the system. During inspiration and expiration, the system is closed, so the patient has to breathe the same anesthetic mixture again and again. The soda lime present in this system absorbs the CO2 exhaled by the patient, and so there is no accumulation of CO2. This method is most commonly used nowadays. Out of these 4 techniques, the first 2, which is open method and semi-open, have gone out of use. The semi-closed and the closed systems are in current use. From the picture of closed circuit, you can see that the expelled gases are going into the soda lime canister, and from the inspiratory tubing, the inspired gases are going into the mask, which will be inhaled by the patient. Anesthesia given with closed circuit is called as low flow anesthesia. There are 2 types of closed circuit. One will be circle system and next will be Froh system. And the closed system was first introduced by Waters in 1923. Components of closed circuit. So these components are also mentioned on the picture of closed circuit that I've just mentioned earlier. So the first one will be carbon dioxide absorbent and expiratory inspiratory tubes, expiratory and inspiratory valves, oxygen analyzer, flow sensor. In this picture, you can see the entire components of a closed circuit. Carbon dioxide absorbance, soda lime. So soda lime is the most commonly used CO2 absorbent. They are small granules and it absorbs the CO2 exhaled by the patient. The reaction between soda lime and CO2 is exothermic, so heat and water are produced as a result of their reaction. The traditional composition of soda lime is calcium hydroxide 94%, sodium hydroxide 5%, potassium hydroxide 1%. The color of the soda lime would be pink when fresh and white on exhaustion. To prevent dust formation among the granules, we have silica in it. Properties of soda lime granules. So, soda limes are granules, so that the hardness of the granules should be more than 75. Otherwise, there would be dust formation which may be inhaled by the patient. Moisture is needed for CO2 absorption. And size of the soda lime granule is 4 to 8 mesh, or you can say 3 to 6 millimeter. As the reaction takes place on the surface of the granules, the air space inside the soda lime canister should be less than 50%. 100 grams of soda lime can absorb 24 to 26 liter of CO2. This is what soda lime canister looks like, and the small dots are soda lime granules, which may be pink, or on exhaustion of they may appear white color. So when they appear white color, you have to be sure that you're changing the soda lime regularly to maintain it in pink. If it is white, it means it have absorbed enough of the CO2 already. Berry lime, another type of CO2 absorbent, which has 80% calcium hydroxide and 20% barium hydroxide, has been withdrawn from the market because of the possibility of life-threatening fire and explosion in the breathing circuit with the sevoflurane, which is an anesthetic inhalational agent. The similar thing between soda lime and berry lime is that it can produce compound A on reaction with sevoflurane, which is nephrotoxic to humans. Amsorb, also called as calcium hydroxide lime, it is a new CO2 absorbent containing calcium hydroxide and calcium chloride. Amsorb does not produce compound A. The disadvantage is that Amsorb is high in cost and has less absorptive capacity when compared to soda lime. So this is the only disadvantage that Amsorb hold. And then next one would be lithium hydroxide. Like Amsorb, lithium based absorbents do not produce compound A. Moreover, they have more absorbing capacity than soda lime, but are very expensive and can cause burns of skin and respiratory tract when inhaled. Now we will see about the other components of closed circuit, the expiratory and inspiratory valves. Here, the inspiratory valve prevent the backflow through the inspiratory limb during expiration, and the expiratory valve prevents the backflow through the expiratory limb during inspiration. Therefore, these valves maintain a single flow of gases. O2 analyzer. It measures the concentration of O2 delivered to the patient and is fitted in the inspiratory limb. Flow sensor. It measures the flow rate of liquid or gases delivered, and it is connected at the end of the breathing circuit. It collects a sample of expiratory gases and deliver it to the monitor to measure the flow rate. It is also useful in detecting some complications such as ventilatory failure, extubation, and bronchospasm. Factors affecting CO2 absorption in closed circuit: freshness of soda lime, tidal volume of a patient, high flows of gases, inadequate filling of soda lime. Thank you.